Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about a masterpiece that has been dubbed by us as the prequel, which was released in 1974, The Father II. As a continuation of The Father, this film directed by Francis Ford Coppola also holds an unwavering position in the IMDb top list. It is not just a repetition of the prequel's black gang history, but a bold structure of double-line narrative, while tracking down the history of the old father, Vito Corleone, as well as the struggle of Michael Corleone at the top of power. This interspersed narrative not only gives the theme of family and power a deeper insight, but also shows the fragility of human nature in the whirlpool of desire. Some people say that the father is about becoming a father, and the father too about inheritance and destruction. The double-line narrative shows the fate of the two fathers. The opening of The Father II has no prequel wedding rumors, and there is no direct conflict. Then, the camera suddenly switches to Sicily in 1901. The young Vito Corleone stands in the ruined village, and his eyes are full of fear and stubbornness. The leader of the local gang, Cco, killed his father and brother. In order to get rid of him, the young Vito Corleone was forced to flee his hometown and return to Sicily, and finally put an end to the obsession of hiding for half his life. He found the original murderer of his father and brother, Tang Zixu, and calmly called out his family's name before the other party sat down, and then ended the old man's life in person. The knife of revenge did not touch the excess violence, and it was more like a late calculation. In time, Michael's suspicions of the family also reached their peak. He suspected that his brother Fredo was a traitor, because Fredo secretly colluded with Mowgli in Cuba. At a family gathering, Michael deliberately called Fredo his brother in front of everyone, but when he turned around, with a cold look in his eyes, he said, "This brother must disappear." Bread on the table eventually became a victim of power struggle. Coppola ended Fredo's life with a fishing show. The sun on the lake was bright, but the sound of the gun was as calm as ice. Michael stood by the shore, facing his brother's body, expressionless. At this moment, he completely cut off his last touch of love. The moment he saw Fredo fall, "Did you feel suffocated like me?" Michael once stepped into the dark to protect his family, but now he is destroying his family in order to consolidate power. Isn't this kind of destruction of love the most terrible part of power? It makes you believe that the cruelty of Michael. He is sitting in an empty room, holding a cigarette that his father left behind, and there is no one around him. The contrast of two times and space pours into the background of power. Fredo used his power to protect his family, but he planted the seeds of desire for the next generation. Michael used his power to expand his family, but he buried the warmth of his family with his times. From the point of view of art, Father II's double-line narrative is called a Silverstone example. To let the audience naturally immerse themselves in the emotions of the two eras. The picture in Sicily is warm and heavy with mud. The picture in the era of Michael is cold and rolling down the audience's hearts. This method of using gentle melodies to wrap up the cruel reality makes the tragedy of the film even longer. And from the depth of thought, Father II has already surpassed the category of gang films. It discusses the difficulties that every ordinary person may face. When we pursue success, how can we not be doubted by success? When we try to protect the people we love, how can we avoid being hurt by love? Does not meet expectations in reality. Father II tells us that the real family inheritance should not be the transfer of power, but the continuation of warmth. The real success should not be the ability to control others, but the courage to protect oneself. When we are desperate for results, maybe we should think about Michael's ending. He got the whole empire, but every night he sat alone in an empty room and missed himself. Who could still laugh? Father II is not a movie that makes you hot-blooded, but a movie that makes you want to be silent for a long time after watching it. It is like a mirror that reflects Michael in our hearts, who gradually becomes tough and suspicious and lonely, but it is also like Michael can bring order, but not trust. Maybe the real salvation is not like Michael's sinking in power,